If you're a teacher or a trainer and you teach in a classroom or remotely or in a hybrid environment, then you probably have certain pieces of technology that really help you do your job more efficiently. For me, it's a magic wand. I find this to be joking aside, I'm not allowed to use a magic wand in the classroom because of the Ministry of Magic. Long story, we won't go there. But in this video, I will show you some technology that over the years I have used for in-person, remote, and hybrid teaching, and I found it to be very useful. So I want to share it with you. Hello, my name is Frank, and I have a master's degree in learning and technology. And here on this YouTube channel, Learning and Technology with Frank, we look at ways that we can use technology to teach, learn, and be more productive. If that sounds interesting, I hope you'll check out some of the videos on the channel and then subscribe if they're useful for you, like the ones that you like, so on. So let's take a look at using technology in a classroom setting. I have another video here on the channel where I talk about using technology from a student perspective, and there's definitely overlap between teaching and student technology. But in this video, I'm focusing more on technology that's going to be specifically useful for teaching. There's no real particular order to the technology I'll share with you. It's just things that I have found useful. So let's start with something kind of fun and a little bit unusual, and that is a desktop portable scanner. So this here is a scanner by a company named CZUR, CZUR. And what this scanner allows me to do is take something like a book or papers and such, and I can put this scanner on my desk. It comes with a mat, and I can scan books and PDFs and different documents that I want to digitize. It has a camera built into the scanner as well as a light to light whatever you're scanning. It is quite portable. There are several models available, and I actually have several of them. I have a small model that's extremely portable. I have this one here, which is the Ultra Shine Pro, which is one that I use quite frequently. And then in my office, I actually have the ET or EZ24 scanner, which is really good for doing a lot of scanning. In my case, because I do teach post-secondary, I am doing a lot of research as well as teaching. So I like to have something where I can take a large number of books or documents and scan them. But I would say that probably my favorite of the three for starting out and doing a lot of work, but not a huge amount of work, would be the Ultra Shine Pro. And like with all this technology, I will put links down below to the different things so you can check them out for yourself. And I do have some videos here on the channel where I talk about using the scanners to convert books into searchable PDFs. So you can check out those videos as well. But the scanner, pretty handy, pretty useful thing to have. And I guess while we're on the topic of portable office equipment, the next thing that I do like is this Phomemo portable printer. Now, this is a little portable printer that I can take with me. And what's really nice about this printer is that you can get different types of paper for it, where you can print things out. They have, for example, sticker printers and little tiny things. I like this one if I have light printing duties. I certainly wouldn't want to use this if I had to do a ton of printing, but this is great for that occasional thing that I need to print out if it's something that I want to take notes on and such. It does require, in this case, it's a thermal printer, so you do have to get the thermal paper for it. I wouldn't do, again, like I said, massive amounts of printing with this, but it is quite handy to have if you do a little bit of printing and you don't have access to a printer in your classroom, or you don't want to use a printer that's down the hall or something along those lines. So it's the Phomemo printer, and I've enjoyed using this one here. It's quite good. It occurs to me that every piece of technology in this video is portable. There's one item that's a little bit larger, we'll get to that, and that might require like a little canvas bag or something to carry that with you. But these are designed to be carried from classroom to classroom. And the next item is one that, as an instructor or teacher, you may not actually need that much. It really depends if you want to do any type of classroom work or marking or anything on the go. and this would be sort of the ultimate in portability, and that would be portable foldable keyboards. So this is an example of a little keyboard that I can have, and if I take something like my phone, I can create like a nice little workstation that's super portable. So this might be something that you'd want to set up if you're moving from classroom to classroom, or you just want to have something that you're taking from, your office. You don't want to bring everything with you, but you want to get some work done. The phones are quite powerful computers these days, so just by taking a keyboard, and they have full-size keyboards as well. So this one here has a trackpad built into it, so that's quite useful. And if you're doing a lot of numerical entry, like you're entering grades and such, you can get this one that has a numeric keypad on it. So these are, and it's also backlit. So these are more for if you're going on a convention, or if you do need to be portable, or if you just want to have that little setup where you've got your keyboard, little tiny keyboard, with your phone. You have a nice little portable workstation where you can do a little bit of typing, a little bit of grading or marking in, I don't know, in a broom closet or something, if you want to hide while you do your marking. So that's just an example of a useful tool that I normally would recommend just to students, but I thought I'd recommend it to some teachers as well that may find it useful. Now with those keyboards, you saw that I had my phone on a little bit of a stand. So this is the next item that I highly recommend, and that is a little portable stand for your phone, and they also have portable stands for your tablet. So these fold up quite nicely, so they're a little bit stiff so that they have a lot of rigidity to them, but they fold up quite nicely. And then what you can do is, I really like having these, because one of the things that I'll often do is I have an iPad, and I will use the keyboard with the iPad, for example, if I don't have the case with the keyboard built in. That's very handy. But beyond that, it allows me to put my iPad or my phone as a companion next to my laptop. So if I'm reading a book, I like to have maybe the ebook on my iPad, and then I can have note-taking apps open on my laptop. That, again, is great for students, but it's also great for teachers where maybe you don't have a lot of screen real estate on your laptop, so you can use your phone or a tablet as additional screen real estate, running an ebook. Maybe you have PDFs or assignments that you're marking, so you can look at the assignment on your iPad and you can type into your computer in order to mark the assignment. So I do highly recommend these portable, foldable stands. They're very useful. Now, I really like the folding stands. They allow me to work very efficiently. There's another item though that I absolutely must have with me no matter what. So there's actually a few items on this list that I consider absolute essentials. There's the nice to haves, and there's the things that I just highly recommend, and this is one of them, and that is a power bank. There is nothing more frustrating than running out of power and not having an outlet that you can use in order to charge your phone or your tablet. So this is a power bank that holds quite a good charge. You can charge your phone several times using this. You can charge your iPad using this. But what's really nice about this power bank is when you do have access to an outlet, it also can allow you to charge on the go. So you can fill up the power bank no matter where you are if you have an outlet. And when you don't have an outlet, let's say you're on a field trip, or let's say you're doing something where you just don't have access to an outlet, you can charge your devices. This one sort of falls into the category of a really highly recommended. All of these devices have made my life easier as an instructor, but this one here is falls into a category that's special, as does the next item. So some of the items that we've talked about so far are either portable, you could take them on field trips with you, like for example, use your phone as a laptop when you're on a field trip with the portable foldable keyboard, or have the power bank in order to have power no matter where you go. But this is a classroom item that is used in the classroom, and I consider this absolutely essential. In fact, I would say this is something I use absolutely every day. And I have two of them here, but these are hubs, external hubs that connect into, in my case, either my iPad Pro or into my laptop, because they have USB-C connectors. So I want to make sure that it connects to your device. And the reason I have two is this one here is, I really like this one by Targus. It's very reliable. I really like the quality of it. It has a couple of HDMI ports and has an Ethernet port on there, some USB ports. This is a great adapter, but if you don't have an HDMI projector in your room, then you may want to look for another one that has, again, different HDMI ports, different USB ports on there, media ports and such. But this is one that has a VGA port on it as well. So you really have to know your environment. Schools don't always update their equipment a lot, so you might find yourself in a situation where your classroom projector is a VGA connector, and then you're running around trying to find that connector. If you have HDMI, you're good with HDMI. If you have USB-C and your device supports USB-C video out, then you're good as well. You have to check your device. But if you're in an older environment, this has saved me many times where I have the VGA outlet. So, but no matter what, you definitely want to have an external hub to give you that additional connectivity, media ports, and audiovisual ports. So the next item is something that I actually consider absolutely essential. It is kind of rare. You don't see it used very much, but I highly, highly recommend it because I think it actually foundationally changes the way that we can use technology in a classroom teaching environment. And this is good for both in-class teaching as well as remote and hybrid teaching. And that is a graphics tablet, where what I'm able to do is I'm able to launch a digital whiteboard, and then I'm able to use this graphics tablet to do all of my board work, which I can then, in a classroom environment, project onto the screen, and even better yet, create a hybrid environment where students that might have issues with line of sight or distance to the front of the classroom can use their computers to tune into, say, a Teams or a Zoom meeting that's running the digital whiteboard. I'm sharing the digital whiteboard, and everything I put on this tablet will go to the digital whiteboard, which will be shared with my students. If you're actually interested in that, here on the channel I have a completely free course on how to use Microsoft Whiteboard, which is a digital whiteboard product, and this is an absolute very useful tool that goes with those digital whiteboards, whether it's Miro or whether it's Microsoft Whiteboard. I use Microsoft Whiteboard, comes with your Microsoft Office subscription. Why not use it? It's free. So the idea is that if I could mandate one piece of equipment to learn how to use and to bring into the classroom for remote teaching, hybrid teaching, and even in-person teaching, it would be using a graphics tablet with a digital whiteboard. I'm really passionate about this. You'll see a lot of videos here on my channel about Microsoft Whiteboard and using these, but they're inexpensive, they're highly portable, and they just make the teaching experience better because everything you're putting on here can be saved. You don't have to erase the board. You can share the board where it matters, right in front of the student. So you may have guessed, I highly recommend these, a graphics tablet. Oh, and the other thing is, you don't need an artist tablet. So you can get some that are designed for graphic artists or photographers or engineers, and you will pay quite a bit of money for those, rightly so. They're very sophisticated tablets. This one is a really nice one that I got from NearHub, and there are other comparable companies out there where you can get these for a very reasonable cost. I'll link down below to some graphics tablets that won't break the bank. Of course, if you are an engineer or an artist, the number one brand out there is the Wacom tablets, but you will pay a premium for them because they have functionality beyond what I'm talking about. I'm talking about simple digital whiteboard sharing for teaching. So highly recommended, as you've guessed, the graphics tablet. Now, when it comes to presentations, a lot of us will use PowerPoints. We'll use it to keep the class on track, to provide structure, or to provide some visual cue as to what we're talking about. But there's a couple of pet peeves that I have with, well, there's a lot of pet peeves that I have with PowerPoint. First of all, I don't like, well, I'm not going to go into If you're interested in my thoughts on PowerPoint, comment down below and I can create a video on how to create effective presentations without putting your audience to sleep. But from a hardware standpoint, when we're giving a PowerPoint presentation, One of the things that I really don't like is when somebody's giving a presentation and they're constantly going back to their laptop and pressing the advanced slide button, which brings us into a presentation remote. So this is a really nice one from Logitech. What I like about this is that I can just take the USB key, plug it in, and then I can go ahead and use this to advance slides. You can actually use this to highlight sections of the slide as well, go back and forth. It's a very simple remote. It sits in your hand very easily. You can maintain engagement with your students, walk around the classroom, talk to them, be with them while you're advancing your presentation and having a conversation. Now, one of the things I will point out though, this is a USB 2 port. So if you have a modern laptop, you might not have a USB 2 port unless you've looked at my previous recommendation, which is that external hub. So if you have the external hub, you'll have a USB 2 port that fits in there. You don't need a lot of bandwidth, don't need a powered port. But this also makes a perfect gift for somebody who's graduating into the world where they might have to give presentations. Maybe you have an aspiring teacher that has just graduated university. This would make a wonderful little, presentation. Get them the tablet. Get them the graphics tablet and this. Get them whatever you'd like to get them, or nothing at all. Or you know what I mean. So I'll link down below to all of this stuff. So I do like these. It gets better student engagement when you're not running back and forth and pressing the button. And comment down below on effective PowerPoint presentations if you're interested in that topic. The next piece of technology is one that is really, in my mind, more for remote teaching. Theoretically, it might be useful for a hybrid environment, but I really think of this as being absolutely a remote teaching type of technology. And that is a good microphone for your desktop. Now, if you're moving around a classroom, then this might not pick up your audio. And there is a device coming up in a moment that will do that. We'll talk about that in a moment. But if you're doing remote teaching, having a good quality audio device like this Yeti Blue microphone is a really good idea. Now, this one's really nice because it's also USB. So that means you don't have to worry about having an audio breakout box. So sometimes if I'm using a professional microphone, if I'm doing a podcast or something, there's a whole lot of audio that you have to set up. Whereas with the Blue Yeti like this, you literally just plug it into a USB port and off you go. You have good crisp audio, maybe some adjustments on there depending on the environment and surrounding environment, but they're easy to set up is what the point is. So this is great for remote teaching, and stay tuned for a device that's really good for hybrid, remote, and in-classroom teaching. That's coming up, but these are great for good audio in a remote teaching environment. On the topic of remote teaching, I wasn't going to recommend these in this video. I do recommend them to students for studying, but generally not for teachers. But in a remote environment, this would be useful for teachers, especially if you have some noise around you and you need to concentrate on hearing what your students are saying, and that would be a set of noise-canceling headphones. I guess you could use these in the classroom. As a matter of fact, there are days where maybe you want to use these in the classroom. But generally speaking, for remote teaching, if you had these on, plus a good microphone, and then you could hear your students, and you would be able to have your students hear you. So noise-canceling headphones, they obviously, if you're doing any type of work, these are very useful as well. So definitely something to consider. And you can get a really nice pair now that are not very expensive. These are the over-ear, these are a Sony, I'll link down below as always, but these are great. They weren't brutally expensive. You don't need the pro level noise canceling headphones if you're just using them for remote teaching, listening to some YouTube videos, doing maybe some music, but you don't need a pro set is what I'm saying. So these are quite nice, and definitely for students, these are perfect for studying, but blocking out noise and distractions. But for teachers, these are great for remote teaching and for those really tough days in the classroom. You can block out the noise. Another alternative that's possible as well, if you don't want to get a desktop microphone and a set of headphones, or you can get a built-in set of headphones with microphone, you can use your phone. Your phone has a microphone in it, and your phone obviously has a camera in it, so that's a useful device, but you'll need a way to put that in position so that you can work with it. And that's where this little tripod comes in. So this little tripod by Joby is nice. It allows me to connect my phone into here. I can adjust it so that I can put it wherever I'd like. It even has bendable little arms so I can, wrap it around things. This is great also on field trips if you want to sort of videotape. You can start your own YouTube channel, and there's all sorts of cool things you can do here with this little tripod. So I do like this, and then you can use your phone. And even though we're talking about hardware in this video, there is a piece of software called Camo Studio, C-A-M-O Studio, link down below, where you can use that on an iPad or on your phone to turn your phone or your iPad into a webcam. You can actually turn your iPad into an entire studio. So there's lots you can do. But this isn't the software video, this is the hardware video. But definitely you would want a way of being able to position your camera wherever you would like it to be, and then just have it connected to your computer wirelessly or through a cable. And then you have your microphone and your video all in one and on a tripod. Not a bad idea. Okay, so now it's time for a couple of items that are very, very cutting edge, maybe a little bit more unique, and I really like having these. There's something that you won't see in very many classrooms, but I'd like to see in more classrooms. One of them's a personal item that you could use as an instructor, and then the other one is something that really changes the dynamic in your classroom. Which one should we do first? Let's do the one that changes the classroom. And that is a 360 webcam. And this one here is by a company called New Room, and I'll put the link down below. What this is a 360 camera that can capture the entire classroom. It also has built-in microphone and speaker arrays, so this becomes effectively a hybrid classroom in a single device. So this could be put on the desk at the front of the room. As people are speaking, it will focus in on them. It'll capture what's happening in the classroom in a 360 environment, 3 camera setup. So if you were to connect this to Zoom or to Microsoft Teams or Google Meet, what would happen is this camera would appear as the microphone, as the speaker, as well as a big 360 camera, so that people can see the entire room as well as the individual speakers. This is really nice for hybrid classrooms where some of your students might not be feeling well, they can't make it in that day, so you allow your system to run Microsoft Teams. And again, going back to the graphics tablet, you could be sharing out the whiteboard. Students could be in the classroom seeing what's being shared. Students at home could see what's being shared, and this 360 camera could capture it all. It's very simple to use. It's literally a plug and play device. It does have a remote, so you can have some control over where the cameras are and such. I highly recommend this. It is something that might be more of a school purchase as opposed to an individual instructor or teacher, but this is a very nice device that I've gotten a lot of good use out of. Okay, and I haven't really looked at absolutely everything that I use on a regular basis. These are really just items that are my most favorite items. So the final most favorite item is a set of Luma Pro XR glasses. If you've seen some of my other videos here on the channel, you'll know that I really like these glasses. These aren't really designed for the classroom. These are more for you as an instructor, because what you can do is basically put your office on your face. So if I'm working with a computer, if I'm working with an iPad, or even if I'm working with my phone, what I can do is I can connect up these glasses to that device, and I can either extend the screens or I can mirror the screens onto these glasses and have a large display or multiple displays right in front of me. I then can use a private connection. Well, basically I can create privacy by having these with a screen. So let's say, for example, I'm in a classroom and I need to do some grading, or I need to fill out some report cards. What I can do is I can put these on, connect my laptop to these, have a private monitor effectively. Nobody can see what I'm doing, But what I am able to do is click on the side and either isolate or have pass through so I can still see what's going on, but I still have that monitor in front of me that allows me to have that privacy. Now, that's a bit of a stretch in some regards to do that. It is pretty cutting edge to be able to start using XR glasses. I would love to see this become more of a norm where we can basically create study rooms and personal office spaces just by putting on a pair of glasses no matter where we are. I use these daily, so I do use them daily. I'm quite happy with them. But it's a little bit something that you might not see every day in a classroom, and they are something that would be more of a modern or cutting edge technology that we're just starting to see emerge. These ones by CZUR, the Luma Pros, are very, very nice. I do have other videos here on the channel where I talk about them for productivity and, you know, for gaming as well, because let's be honest, if you have a big 152-inch screen, you're gonna play some games on it if you're a gamer. So I love these. I mean, I really like these. No, I love these. So they're really nice. So that's it. Those are some of the things that I recommend for teachers when it comes to technology in the classroom. I would absolutely love to hear what you're using in your classroom for technology and what is the value that you're getting from it. There's a lot of technology in this world, but the question is, can we use it in a way that makes us more effective teachers? Can we use it in a way that helps people learn more effectively? Is there a way that we can use it to be more productive? You know, that sounds like a great idea for a YouTube channel. Well, here on Learning and Technology with Frank, that's exactly what we talk about. So check out some of my other videos if you are interested in how we can use technology to learn and teach and be more productive. Thank you so much for watching this video. Go ahead and give it a like if you liked it, subscribe if you want more content, and definitely comment down below if you're interested in having a conversation with me. I try to read all of the different comments. Oh, and if you want to support the channel, I do have memberships, so that is a way if you want to help me explore more things that I can share with you in the world. Thank you again so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.